college, you're in a way on your own in life. So you have to look up for those things that you want to do on your own and create that future that you want for yourself on your own.
Dennis, what do you want to tell our viewers?
Yeah. Go like, comment, and subscribe.
Welcome back to Between the Fields. We are your hosts, Ramin. This is Dennis Boskert,
Yo, what's going on?
where we bring you tips, advice, and inspiration from collegiate athletes who bring their sports experience and training into their professional world.
Today, we are joined with NSU women's soccer goalkeeper, Puerto Rico national team former goalkeeper. She's currently working as a pharmacist, and she's ranked 253 in the International Beach Tennis
Oh,
Federation.
that's quite impressive.
Mrs. Sandra Rolon, welcome.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me today. A pleasure to join you.
Awesome. Sandra, give us a quick little description as far as what you do today in your profession or career.
Absolutely. So, as a clinical pharmacy practitioner, I work in ambulatory care. So, at the VA, I have the honor of working to the top of our license, right? So, we have prescriptive authority. I manage conditions that are chronic, such as hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol. So, I meet up with the patients via video or phone to talk about their conditions, adjust their medications when necessary, and order labs to ensure safety of that. So that's something I truly enjoy doing. Also, on the side, I'm doing property management with short-term rentals that I have in Puerto Rico. Also enjoying that, having that people connection is really amazing.
Awesome, very cool. So it's almost like you're working as a remote pharmacist.
Well, I actually have to go fully on site now.
Okay.
I don't see the patients face to face. Actually, the population that I work with is pretty complex when it comes to their health conditions, so they cannot come into the hospital to see their primary care provider. So the whole team goes visits them at their homes.
Okay.
But
Oh,
as a
nice.
pharmacist, my visits with them are via phone or video mostly. I do
Okay.
go on occasion to their homes to provide the services when that's needed.
Oh, it's very cool.
Definitely sounds like you
Yeah.
got your hands busy with pharmacy and then also the Airbnb rentals. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get back into, or we're gonna get into, kind of like the athlete's mindset here. We're just gonna do a little warm up here for you, Sandra. We just want to know, how did your experience as a collegiate athlete shape your confidence and self-awareness in the workplace?
Okay, so I mean, definitely, I feel like a lot of us can relate as college athletes that we have a skill set that you would think it's normal, but it's not. We're built a little bit different in that all the sacrifices we have to do when being a college athlete, mainly that discipline that we have to get there. We're very just like goal oriented, very competitive, just wanting to become a better version of ourselves every single day, working as a team if you're doing a team sport, but even if it's an individual sport, you're doing it for your school or whatever team you're representing. So I feel like as a the past athlete, and still am, but that work ethic is something that it's definitely huge when it comes to the professional side of things. It's golden, I will say. Um, so I think discipline, time management, definitely the work ethic, being resilient. How many struggles did we not go through when we were college athletes?
Oh yeah.
I think those things all together just you just perform at a different level. You're willing to give that extra mile and go above and beyond to do what you need to do at work.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
The
very
the
true.
the mental aspect of collegiate soccer, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough journey, but it shapes you and prepares you. Not only were you a student athlete, you also have that national team background where you played for your island, and it's just everyone, all eyes are on you, and yeah, you're expected
Mhm.
to perform at the highest level. So Sandra, what would you say was one of the most unexpected challenges you faced in college and how did it affect you and shape you into who you are today?
So I will say my most challenging situation when I was doing sports in college was the fact that I had my goal of becoming a pharmacist, right? And of course, that's a doctorate degree. There's a lot of studying involved. So I wanted to make sure that I had a good representation with the national team before going into pharmacy school. However, right before the tryouts for that last national team, in my mind, it was I got an injury. So I
Oh,
couldn't make that one. And to me, that was devastating because I didn't want that to be the end of it, like not having my last appearance internationally before pharmacy school. So I went into pharmacy school wanting to still play with the national team again for my last time and retire with dignity. So I was extremely tough to really convince the graduate level, the academic leadership, into that the fact that I was wanting to do soccer and also my doctorate degree. So that was just extremely hard. They wanted me to pretty much pause pharmacy school so I could finish my soccer compromises and then come back. However, for me, that was really not an option. I knew that I would just wanted to do both. It's an extreme honor to play with your national team, but ultimately, I had very clear that my professional career was going to be pharmacy. So I sat down with the dean. I had the rules in front of me. I knew it was possible. And I said, hey, I know it's going to be very challenging, but I am willing to take the risk and do this because I really want to do both. And if you have me choose, I really don't want to, but I will have to choose pharmacy in this case at that point where I was. Um, I was given the green light. It was very challenging. Of course, the time management, time requirements for both were incredible.
yeah, I can only.
But
It's
I was
crazy.
yeah, but I mean, I was able to make it happen. I think that that was definitely one of the best decisions in my life because at that point, we actually got to the farthest at that time where the national team had gone to. We were in the qualifiers for the Olympics, um, which we played against our heroes. US was the champion at the time, so we got to play them, and it was an amazing
Oh
experience.
wow.
But yeah, so
So
I think
you were balancing pharmacy school and play and like keeping in shape like kind of on your own with the national team?
yeah, yeah, I was
Wow.
doing both.
Uh,
For the first 3 years of my doctorate, I was still active with the
Oh
national team.
wow,
Oh wow.
that's like
Nice.
being a college student athlete, except you're a graduate student
I mean
in doctorate school
I
as a athlete.
I know, I mean, I did the same, well, not the same thing, but I was in pharmacy school and it was 19 credits a semester. So to go
Oh
and,
wow.
to go and do, play on the national team as well and stay in shape, no, that's impressive.
Yeah, in college, what you're taking, what, 12 credits when you're just in your
Yeah,
undergraduate?
12 to
So
15
you're
and
taking
yeah.
7 more credits on top of, traveling to Puerto Rico or going wherever the games are while having to stay on top of your studies. That has to be some amazing time management skills to get everything done and stay on top of it.
Absolutely. But those are the things that then you bring to your career, right? So all that discipline and time management that required definitely translates into who I am today and what I do at my daily living.
So, Sandra, you've been on a couple different teams, your international team, your the team at Nova.
She transferred from Puerto Rico to Nova.
To Nova, yeah. So both those soccer
Yeah.
teams, and I just want to kind of, just talk about your key transitions here. How did you adapt to a new team dynamic in the workplace? Was that an easy transition for you, or a little bit difficult, seeing as it's something different than soccer?
In the workplace, I think I think at that point in my workplace, I think that was easy transition for me because of the fact that I had so many transitions already previously, as you mentioned, with my sports. I feel like just the importance of building those strong connections with your teammates. It's what is gonna make you successful as a team. It's not individual sport, right? So you need to work together to achieve your goals as a team. So it was easy for me to understand that the same just translates into your workplace. So personal relations, I think, are extremely important anywhere you are. And as an athlete, that was very well developed, I would say.
And I guess just to kind of piggyback off that, there's a different level of passion maybe in the soccer field versus in the professional workplace. Did you feel like that kind of like maybe
Translated.
yeah, maybe that like didn't necessarily um or made it harder for you to transition into the workplace because there wasn't that same passion as there was, or did you feel like that really wasn't a thing in the workplace for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the most important thing here is to really find your why and what is it that you love doing and find your passions. And I am a very competitive person. So even with the workplace, I was passionate about wanting to help other people. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do in my pharmacy career, which is thankfully what I'm doing right now. But I think what translated was the fact that if I wanted to get there, I had to be very competitive because to get to this position, you have to, I mean, you're among a lot of other people in your pharmacy class that are also super smart and have great qualities that got them there. So at that point, it kind of became point to where what can I do to be better, to just further develop my skill set to be able to achieve those goals and get into residency and have a higher chance of getting that job. So I feel like even with pharmacy, I was still able to find that competitiveness that I love, which makes me thrive and passionate about. So it's a different type of, let's say, fire, right, that you feel in the field versus in the workplace. But if it's something that you really enjoy, that you're really passionate about, you're still going to bring those those skills and competitiveness to there, and that's gonna make you shine wherever you are.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think having the background as like a student athlete as well as, a national team athlete, helped, I guess, with the hiring committee or the VA hire you over, let's say, other candidates because they know, athletes have that competitive edge, all the skills it would take to, you know, be efficient at work?
Absolutely. In a way, I definitely think that it did. Not necessarily made the hiring committee like be able to understand that, but you are able to show what I call like the intangibles, that are those things that you can't show people. You just have it, and these are the things I mentioned before, like the resilience, the work ethic, how motivated you are. As athletes, I mean, we are often in very uncomfortable positions. We're often doing things that we don't necessarily want to do, but we know we have to. And so we are willing to go above and beyond. And those things definitely are things that your hiring committee would love to see in any employee wherever you are. So I definitely think those are the stronger qualities that are built within us that will help us in that workplace area.
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of leads me, like, when you were leaving NSU, was there any resources or any sort of guidance you had? Because I'm assuming you knew you wanted to be a pharmacist in your undergraduate, correct?
Yes, yes, I already knew
So,
that's where I wanted to go.
graduating from NSU, were there any resources or did you have any mentors or did you shadow or like what'd you do to, get the edge over, let's say, the competition to become in, or to get into the field you're at today?
So I mean, I did do a lot of research on my own. I was able to talk one on one with some pharmacists so that they could explain to me what they were doing in their field, what what the options were, what they were passionate about their jobs, like pros and cons types of things. That I looked on my own, but there was definitely a lot of resources also in the school that could help you with that. I personally didn't really necessarily use them, but they were available.
Okay.
But I feel like a lot of the things and and what and when we talk about transitions, I think that's also uh, the fact that you're kind of after you do your whole college, you're in a way on your own in life. So you have to look up for those things that you want to do on your own and create that future that you want for yourself on your own a lot of the time. And when I say on your own, you're not necessarily alone in it, but you have to look and find those resources and to support you get where you need to be.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to this last question before we transition into, the next topic. What would you say would be the most valuable lesson you learned about yourself during college?
Okay. So I will say the most valuable lesson I learned about myself is that the using the qualities or the skill set that I have built and really help me achieve whatever I want in life, right? So I truly believe that if you have your mind into it and you really are willing to do the uncomfortable things and keep the determination that you need, you are able to get to big places. Just setting those goals for yourself and fighting your way through it, you can really get there. And another thing I will say is that sometimes there are times where things don't go necessarily the way that you planned them, but I am a firm believer that all of that happened for a reason. So in that example I provided earlier about what happened to me with the injury, I was not expecting that at all. That's not something that I saw seeing. But then if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have been able to be a part of the history Puerto Rico had getting to that pre-Olympic qualifier. So sometimes just understanding that there's always gonna be a reason and just staying positive about things and just to trust that there's a greater plan for you and you're gonna end up where you need to be if you keep just that positive determination, goal mindset, and athletic mindset that help you get there. So
Definitely. And Dennis asked you your most valuable lesson. I wanted to ask you what was your biggest like personal obstacle that you identified while playing collegiate soccer and then that you identified there and that you kind of developed about yourself and that you now apply or maybe you experience the same thing in the workplace. What is something that you've like personally struggled with, but then you've found a way to kind of overcome it if there's anything at all?
yeah, absolutely. And I think this is something that I continue to work with every day. I think that um I would say that it would be your mindset and in terms of the confidence that you have in yourself, right? So I mean, I find myself pretty confident, but sometimes when you're in that tough position, like in an important game, important match, or it's just something important for your work, you kind of like all this negative thoughts start jumping into your head and just some sort of like anxiety or insecureness and things like that. And a lot of times, you have already worked really hard to have the skill set that you need to be successful there, but the mind can be your biggest enemy. So the mind is something that I continue to work with. And in Nova, we had some sports psychologists that can definitely help with that. I started listening to podcasts to just get those negative thoughts away and just build even more confidence in my head so I can perform better. And again, that's something that I continue to do today.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely was not listening to podcasts
Yeah,
back then. No.
I don't think we even had the psychologist or at FAU to, as a resource to go speak about mental. Like it really wasn't a topic
Yeah.
of discussion back then. Whereas because I definitely kind of like made you more resilient on the field. So like, how would you apply that resilience you developed in sports to overcome setbacks in your professional career?
I think just what thinking about like what's the worst outcome. A lot of times we kind of think about like the world is coming up down and it's really not. So just knowing that we can just keeping that positive mindset and just knowing that if it doesn't go this way, then there's other ways to go about that, or just being positive about the fact that we can get to the same place through other ways. Um, I would say that.
Yeah, it kind of helps your pharmacy or your job, more be more successful throughout the term or wherever it's by avoiding these setbacks, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have to just understand that errors can happen, mistakes can happen. I mean, we're human. I think we are very hard on ourselves, but sometimes we have to not be as hard on ourselves and be okay with the fact that it's not always going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and just what matters the most is what are you going to do after that? What do you take from that mistake? What you learn so that you don't do it again, or do you limit the amount of times that you're doing that? So
Like that one saying, what is it? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
yeah.
Um, and Sandra, you are in a pharmacy role, pharmacist, so you're making a lot of ethical decisions. You probably made a lot of ethical decisions during soccer as well. So, I guess how do you ensure ethical decision making in your current role as an ambulatory pharmacist?
I mean, I feel like ethics in a way also has to do with your morals and your values. So I feel that comes not only from sports but also from home and what your thought, um, what your beliefs are. There's oftentimes situations where there could be ethical considerations and you're not necessarily know like how to go about them work, we if we ever encounter ourselves in that situation, we meet up as a team, just discuss it with other people, see what the thoughts are about it. If still as a team we have some concerns or doubts, we do have an ethics committee, so we always know that we don't. It's not necessarily always just on us. It's okay to just discuss and take it to the next level if that's needed. But the most important thing would be to identify it and to recognize that there may be an ethical concern and that we have to bring that up.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, definitely reliance on the team is, rather than making a decision by yourself too, always helps as well.
Right.
Um, so before we get into the final sprint here, Dennis, should we any questions we can move right on into that?
Yeah, let's
Or
move on.
okay. We always like to ask if you could give one piece of advice to your former self, maybe
Like freshman year.
freshman year or even your senior year where you're entering into college and going in or leaving college, what would you tell yourself as making it where you are right now? What's something piece of advice you would have given yourself now?
I would tell myself that you know your identity as an athlete will always be a part of you, but it doesn't necessarily define your entire future. Just the discipline, the time management, all the teamwork that you develop in sports are transferable tools that will give you a competitive edge in any field. And just to stay curious and be open to new passions, never underestimate how far your athletic mindset can really take you, even if it's in a different arena, like it is now for me with healthcare, beach tennis. So just to be proud of the path and understand how important that is going to be for your future self, and just be bold enough to continue to evolve.
Yeah, that's
Awesome. Awesome piece of advice.
yeah, very good. And Sandra, I would like to mention if there was anything you'd like to mention that maybe we didn't ask you today, any advice, tips, or anything that you'd like to relay to the viewers that maybe we didn't ask you today?
I think we covered a lot, but I would just like to really highlight how like for everyone that has been an athlete, like your discipline is your superpower, and that is something that is just golden in the professional world. So really be confident about the fact that not everyone else that hasn't been an athlete has really built that skill set in the way that you have. The same with the work ethic and the teamwork, and just the fact that reinventing yourself is also a strength. It's not a loss. So it's gonna be challenging when I would say when you're done with your college life and you go out into the real world. We usually have like a very like a standard like path. So like you go from high school to college, from college to graduate school if you want to do that. But then after that, there's really not a clear path. So you have to create that for yourself. You have to set those goals for yourself. Um, and that's the beauty of it too, that you get to create what you want about it, but it is a very challenging transition there. But just be open to keep exploring, stay positive, and just stay confident on the skills that you've developed to date. To get it will get you to great places. So just keep
Awesome.
living with that same passion that you did with sports.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and honestly, yeah, positive mindset. I like that about you. So that's awesome. Well, I think that is all we have here for today.
Yep. Thank you for joining us today, Sandra. It was a pleasure seeing you again. We trained together way back in the days, the Puerto Rico national team.
Yeah. Yeah, we would. I'll have to shoot out Laurita and I would
Yeah,
go train with all the men's national team.
yeah.
So we go way back. It's a pleasure to be here, and you guys are doing amazing things for the athletes, and um, just talking about this transitions. I think it's definitely very important. So good luck with all of it, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And to the viewers out here, if you found this interview helpful or useful, please like and subscribe or leave us a comment if there's anything else that you would like to know about Sandra.
This was Between the Fields podcast. Dennis,
Ramin,
Ramin. Yep. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.